Salutations, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
We're back with another episode of Perspectives. I'm one of your hosts, Liddy Bro Flacko. My other host is here, Holden Roy. Say hi, Holden.
Hi, Holden.
We're here with our guest, Vanguard, the uh, one of the founding fathers of End of the Week, um, Svengali brother, uh, 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 internet product hawker extraordinaire. As you can see by his shirt that he's wearing, you know what I'm saying? The product is very much beloved. Yeah, just underground hip hop legend.
War and peace, people. Vanguard here, EO Dub, FYL. Great introduction, Flacco. Peace to you. Peace, Holden.
Peace and blessings.
It's definitely EO Dub. It's definitely Vice VZ. The platform here that, everybody is interfacing on, not this moment, because I know that we're going in different places, but in general, I feel like, Flacco and Holden met, here or through here, and those things are all, like really what the spirit of the dub is about, is just connecting, people that are able to, do big things. And I don't know what episode this is, but you guys have been doing numbers, a lot of really interesting interviews, in my opinion. I've watched many of them. A lot of those people are personal friends of mine, personal friends of ours, you know what I mean? EO Dub friends. Which is a beautiful thing. So, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So like usually, when we start the show, I always do like the origin story of me and Holden, right? Like I think you're familiar with it, but like we do it anyway. When we were on the Liddy Bros volume 1 run, our engineer, Mirka Miyagi, shouts to Mirka Miyagi in Montreal, Canada. He was the one that engineered the whole project. And, he from Cali originally, Montreal, but he might as well be from New York, right, man? Where like he has that classic New York engineer attitude where like, I don't promote nobody who I work with. Like I ain't promoting you motherfuckers trash. But he promoted our shit, right? And promoted it quite lovingly, like, shared a video. It was like, if I were to go to New York, I want to get Liddy with the Liddy Bros, have a good time. Looks like it's a great time. That caught Holden's attention as a hardcore Montrealian, you know what I'm saying? And he paid attention. He went and did a review on the album. Then we did the first interview. And after that interview, I felt like I went to therapy, B. I was like, yo, why the fuck I like finally talked about my life after all these years doing hip hop, never like talked about like my life growing up. So like, typical New Yorker, I was just like, yo, came up on some dope shit, met somebody dope. I'm like, yo, got to put everybody in the fam on now. And we started this series that we have here. Originally it was Bridge the Gap, and now it's Perspectives. And yeah, so Holden always sets up with his, questions, but like I've been changing it and cutting him off and like trying to get people started with like, I mean, I'm famous for cutting people off. The question that I like everybody to tell the world is, tell the world who you are, where you are from, and where your parents are from.
I'm Vanguard, that's how EO Dub knows me. In a part of my life, I was, heavy into rapping and somewhat battle rapping a little bit. Like I might have won a couple battles, you know what I mean? Like that's cool. But definitely, worked with, collaborated on a lot of music with people who have gone on to do more music. And, for me, I've kind of neglected that for a decade plus, but that's fun. I'm still involved with, music with EO Dub, and obviously with the Zoom in the past couple of years, been rapping a little bit more, but not necessarily taking it super seriously, just more to like support the movement, the free O Dub segment, the open mic segment, you know what I mean? And as I keep writing, I feel like, I should keep writing. So that's a big thing. That's one aspect of who I am. Another, you said, where am I from? I'm from New Jersey. I live in Brooklyn. I lived in Brooklyn for 19 years. I'm 41 years old. I was born in JFK Hospital in Edison. My parents are from Colonia, New Jersey, and Carteret, New Jersey, which is Central Jersey. I was when I was born, we lived in Perth Amboy for the first part of my life until I moved away and went to a high school in a nice suburb, which was a different and lit experience. And I went to Rutgers University and graduated with a degree in economics.
So we're going to run through a lot more of that with a lot more detail. But
later on, we got to touch on this Central Jersey thing because he's the first person. He's the first person to talk about Central Jersey, and for the tri-state area people who care, right? Like Central Jersey is like this whole big controversy. You know what I mean? Okay. About where it starts, where it stops.
I don't even know what Central Jersey is.
Later
to be
on,
honest
we'll
with
talk
you,
about that.
I was like, there's a Central Jersey? I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's a place and it has a scent. Anyway, but yeah, with that, definitely going to delve into more because that nah mean thing, not everyone knows what you mean. And that's the whole point of this, is to delve into that.
I know that too. And that's just like a habit, It's
a wonderful habit.
With things that you say. And I love that part about this show is that like the premise, almost like the tagline is like, I not mean, you know what I mean? Like, nah, I don't not mean, you know what I mean? Like
one of us nah means, the other one does not nah mean. You know what I mean?
For sure. But that's the purpose of clarifying things. So with that said, if there's questions that are there,
nah, don't you worry. We're just gonna go run through everything you said with a lot more detail, starting with the proper opening question. Now the preface has been set. The story starts in New Jersey. That's what is super important. So yeah, the first question's a little bit of a story. Run through it, then we start talking. And it starts with my girlfriend. She's washing the dishes one time, and she's got her phone playing, and it's that Black Eyed Peas song. I got a feeling. Ooh. And she's vibing, and she's dancing, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, when the fuck did this thing become a club? When did this song become dishes music, chores music? Like when did this vibrant energy song become that thing that you put on when you bored, scrubbing at some plates, trying to have a good time with the situation? And that was like a really big moment for me because that song in particular, I remember 10 years ago, we'd all be super drunk, dancing in circles and everything. And like, it was the club song. Like it was the song of the night. And then 10 years goes by, the song doesn't change at all, but the context of our lives changes so much that now it's some chores music, it's some exercise music. It just kind of plays that role like that, which just got me thinking a lot about, musics and journeys, and songs can just kind of evolve in a sense over time based on how we treat them. And it got me thinking about all the little ones clubbing, doing their thing, having no idea this is the future soundtrack to their washing dishes. And then I realized though, all that club music today, that Cardi B's and stuff, it's honestly pretty lit when you're washing dishes right now. It is what it is. It's kind of what just happens. That vibe makes you kind of just changes. And as we started talking about journeys and how time kind of changes stuff, it got me thinking about our own musical journeys and how, especially with the interviews and when we talk about our stories, we jump to this like adolescent point usually when we first start getting into hip hop, when we first start rapping. It's honestly even one of the first things you jump to with yours. Like I started rap, because we can't help it. But really, that's not the start of our musical experiences and our musical journeys. We've been hearing music from the beginning. Like there's a good chance when you were in Edison in a hospital, there was some song playing when you came out for the first time that you were absorbing. So music been a part of our life since forever. Like I can remember being 4 or 5 years old, and my dad had these gray boxes, like the amp, the fucking radio, the tape deck. It had all these wires going together. It would take him 20 minutes to set up the speakers if we moved, type of thing. He'd be busting his Led Zeppelin tapes, and at night it would be this 90s club music playing straight from the clubs and whatnot, just different vibes. My mom, she really liked disco and musicals and a whole bunch of other stuff. In the cars, it would be radios and other things. And all of this created this whole like soundscape to my existence before I had any control over the music or the environment at all. So I was hoping, Mr. Vanguard, you could run us back to the youngest Vanguard you could remember being and tell us a little bit about what it sounded like to grow up in New Jersey, what your parents were into, the tech, the vibes of the era, all of that good stuff.
My father is a guitar player, was a guitar player, he's deceased. He put me on a lot of different music that he loved. He also was the person who, he bought me my first CD in the mall. Like, let's go Sam Goody, pick out a CD, whatever you want. Like, didn't care that I didn't like the same music as him. You know what I mean? Get to the counter, like, oh, like, yep. Like, he was lit when it came to music, and put me on to Stevie Wonder, put me on to Jeff Beck, put me on to his own music, and that was, a part of, my memories of my pops. Like, we, grew apart as, times, my parents are divorced, and, I saw him less and less as I got older and older, to the point where I didn't see him at all. And, that's unfortunate, but I think it's okay. And I think that I can look fondly on the things that he did for me that were positive, like introducing me to music, which, is a big part of my life, like, for sure. So, my mom, my mom loves Bruce Springsteen, she loves Bruce Springsteen. And
the boss.
The Jersey thing, but not only because it's a Jersey thing. She's a very dynamic fan of music as well. She played in the band with my pops on piano and like did backup singing and stuff like that. The music that my mom's listened to is like more, like dynamic. If we were in the car, she would have on the Z100 or something like that, just like the popular station. But then when it came time for me to be, 12, 13 years old and wanted to put on, at that point, it wasn't even Hot 97. It was like, you'd have to put a tape in, but I was allowed to do that. You know what I mean? I'm dating myself, but again, I already told you how old I am. And back in,
it's okay.
It is okay. That's life. Everybody's going to get here. You should hope that you get to 41. If you ain't get to 41,
Facts.
you're losing.
You heard?
That's a big knowledge nugget.
It's not called old age. It's called experience.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm not hung up on that. And like, I feel like, when there's a young person that's like, oh, you old. I'm like, you know what? Like, that's a reaction that young people have. And if they knew better, they do better, but they don't have the wisdom to do it. So they just react in ways that are, could make somebody feel less than, because, oh, I'm old, that's a bad thing. Like, nah, man. Like, if you're doing good, taking care of yourself, taking care of your people, enjoying life, I saw a meme recently where, it's like the past, the present, and the future, right? Well, I'm backwards, so that's not really working. But either way, the past and the present, the past and the future were huge circles, and the present was like a mini little dot, right? And then they were like, switch your focus, and they made the present a huge circle, and the past and the future little dots, And that's the way that I feel like life should be lived, for myself at least, Like, the past is important, it's here, or this is the future, it's here. The past is also important, but what's really important is the present, right? Not the other way around. So
Living in the present.
enjoy that life. And like, no matter what age you are, enjoy that life. And actually, my life is more lit now than it was when I was 20. So don't let you tell me you're 20 and I'm old and it's not lit. It's actually way more lit than when I was 20. So let's be real with that too.
Way more lit. I do way
Yo.
more lit shit. I could not buy a $400 bottle of champagne when I was 18, fam.
Yeah,
Now I'll be popping them shits like nothing.
you
All I
do.
can say is my life was way less lit in my 20s.
Yeah.
Way less lit. I get it.
It's a function of like, you know, as you go along, you should gain experience. Experience should allow you to level up in, you know, multiple ways, but like, you know, mostly more experience means that you get more accolades and then you get a higher pay and then you get more disposable and all that. Like, yeah, like, you know, the place that you lived in when you were 20 isn't as nice as the place that you live in when you're 50. Like, if you're the 50-year-old version, like if you're leveling up, even if it's incremental levels, like you don't got to be living in a mansion. You know what I'm saying? It's like you just got your shit together a little more than you did yesterday. Like that's like life. If you could do that, then like
Facts. I like that a lot, Vanguard. I like that a lot. So let's go back to like when you're a little one, because we're still gonna delve
Early
into
gems. Early gems. The man didn't even get 20 minutes into the interview already dropping
He's
gems.
dropping him. No, for real. I like Vanguard's perspective a lot. Every time I hear you speak, it's usually some wise shit.
Recording in progress.
Oh, there's the standard recording message we get. That's okay. But if we go back to when you were young, with that much of a musical influence around you, no worries about that at all, James. With with all that musical influence around you, are you like inspired by this to start singing along, to start trying to play a guitar? Like, is there like a 5-year-old Vanguard that's like trying to get all up on his music grind?
Nah, like in my teens, I like picked up a guitar and learned a little bit. My dad taught me some stuff, and then I really just didn't keep up with it. The thing that was like it was, you know, I think like when I was 12 and we went to Sam Goody in the Woodbridge Center Mall, you know, and my pops was like, pick out a CD, anything you want. And I went straight to the hip hop shit and got Gangstar Daily Operation and was like, this is my shit. I want this. I didn't even think twice when I went to the counter if it was for me. It was pick anything you want. You know what I mean? I know that wasn't his shit, you know, but he let us listen to it and listen to it too with us, you know. My brother went and bought a Slayer album, you know, and that was cool too. Like, no, like, you know, I mean, the Gangstar shit is like hip hop. That's not my pop's music. My pops did rock and roll shit, but Slayer ain't his music either, and that shit is like wild offensive. It's like NWA for heavy metal. You know what I mean? And in a totally different way, but just to say that it's like wild offensive. You know what I mean? It's like satanic music, cursing, all that shit, mad loud, abrupt, all that. Like when I could fuck with that shit because my brother likes it. I mean, my brother went and saw Slayer in El Paso because he lives in Texas now. But I have a twin brother. Talking about my pops, talking about this story.
You have a twin brother?
Yeah.
Woo, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna pull a little bit on that string so you could drop that gem.
So yeah, so me and my twin brother, we're in Sam Goody. He gets a Slayer CD, I get a Gangstar Daily Operation CD, and you know that was, you know, I was already into hip hop, but like that was like my first piece that I bought, and I was 12, you know, and that's like around the time when you start getting your own thing, your first Walkman, your this, your that, you know what I mean? Maybe a little younger, but for me it was that moment that I remember, right? My musical pathway comes from rapping. You know what I mean? Like it started for sure freestyle rapping. You know, just like, I'm studying this so intently that I can do it.
So I had a question though.
Yeah.
So if you're already buying a Gangstar album at 12, how do you discover hip hop as a young guy with a guitarist father in New Jersey?
Because hip hop was the shit. I mean, like I went to school with people, and people were playing music that was like such shit that was hot at the time. I mean, talk about Biz Markie just passing. Like that song came out when I was like 9. You know what I mean? Like the Just a Friend shit. Like yo, that was a radio smash. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfucker. Like I was 10, 11 being like Crisscross and Vanilla Ice are whack. They're not hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's fact.
So there's a huge hip hop presence where you're at. Like, cause I don't know anything about New Jersey, man. Like I know less about New Jersey than I know about New York.
New Jersey is like, Long Island East. You know what I mean? Like it.
He does not know what you mean.
Right,
I kind of know what Long Island is because I've stared at enough maps, but no, I don't know what you mean.
New York City's 5 boroughs. New York City is Manhattan, it's the Bronx, it's Queens, it's Brooklyn, and it's Staten Island, right? And those 5 boroughs make up New York City, which is in between Jersey City, which is New Jersey, and on the other side of Brooklyn is what they call Long Island. But Queens and Brooklyn are counties that are on the landmass that's called Long Island, right? So Queens and Brooklyn, Nassau and Suffolk, right? Those are the 4 counties that are on Long Island. So Long Island is inherently not only a part of New York State, it's by geographic, it's part of New York State. People consider like EPMD, Rakim, a lot of the hip hop. Biz Markie, I think, is from Long Island. Busta Rhymes originally from Long Island. Like Long Island is like considered New York adjacent. You know what I mean? And New Jersey, not the whole state. South Jersey is not New York adjacent, right? North Jersey, Jersey City, Newark, Patterson. There's places that are considered New York adjacent. And it's okay, and there's rappers that come from there, like as if it's all part of the New York bubble, right? Just like people are coming from Wyandanch, Long Island, and they're considered a New York City rapper, right? Joe Budden is from Jersey City, I can name, Tretch and Order by Nature. There's a million of them, right? And Tretch, this is around the time too when OPP was out. This is around the time when, Jersey Hip Redman was out. Jersey hip hop artists were getting love. So yeah, like there's definitely a heavy presence of hip hop in Jersey. Jersey, I would not to like try to be funny style because my Jersey people will hate me if I said it's like Long Island East. It's just an analogy.
So what's a Central Jersey then? Since we're at the geography
Jersey, right?
part.
So Central Jersey. So in New Jersey, there's a thing where it's like what exit, and heads mean what exit are you on the Parkway, right? So the Garden State Parkway runs north and south straight through New Jersey, right? It goes from North Jersey through Central Jersey and into South Jersey. If you looked at the state of New Jersey, it's got like 2 diamonds. It's like a diamond on the top and a diamond on the bottom. And that centerpiece right there where it's like Pennsylvania over here and the water over here, the Atlantic Ocean, that part right there is Central Jersey. So North Jersey is Bergen County, Essex County, everything in the north. Central Jersey is Union County, Middlesex County, and others. But Central Jersey is a thing if you've never heard of it. And when people say what exit on the Parkway, they're asking you so they know the proximity because it goes from tallest to shortest. So, if you're exit 158, we know you're in North Jersey. If you're at exit 130, you're in Central Jersey. If you're at exit 40, you're in South Jersey. Has to know that. What exit?
Also, so that people can know for context, right? Like, hip hop, like, there's people that argue, like, right? Like, Queens likes to, like, argue that, like, nah, hip hop was born in Queens, it wasn't the Bronx, Like, it's arguable, right? Because it was that fast that it traveled outside of the Bronx. And if it traveled outside of the Bronx that fast to Queens and Brooklyn, Jersey was just as fast. It was the fastest place. So while everybody else had to wait for their cousins and their families to travel to New York City, to come here, to get tapes, to get the feeling of hip hop, to then bring it back to their states, all over the country, Jersey didn't have that wait, that long wait. Jersey was pretty much right there. A lot of those, the song that people think about, people that don't know hip hop like that they think that like the first hip hop song ever is hip hop, a hip to the. It's not, right? But those guys, a majority of that crew, from Sugar Hill Gang, those guys were Jersey residents. So like
I think
Jersey.
it's from Teaneck. I think it's from Teaneck, and that's where Zoo's from. It's from Teaneck. So there goes another little connection. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but for real, like Zoo is wild nicer than those dudes. Fuck those dudes. Fuck that song. You know what I'm saying? And I said what I said. I'm sticking to it.
Why? Okay, you gotta understand. I do not know why you would say that or feel that way with that level of passion, because I've never heard anybody hate that song in my life.
Break it down, Pat.
I'm a sarcastic motherfucker. Like if we chilling and we just talking like, you know, stories about me, you got to know me and my humor. That's a big part of me, you know? Absolutely.
Fair. I appreciate that, Stills. So when do you start like freestyling and stuff? When does that like start to become a passion in your life?
Like high school, you know, like had like in so you know, I grew up in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, which is on the other side of Staten Island, right? So the Outer Bridge crossing at the south end of Staten Island goes right into New Jersey. For proximity of like where Central Jersey is, it's still touching a part of New York across the water, even though it's Central Jersey, right? And I went to as many schools as there was grades until 8th grade. I went to 9 schools, right? But that I switched more than once in a year, and schools were closing on us and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like different things. But it was ill because me and my twin brother, who look nothing alike, like we don't even look like we're friends, let alone brothers. You know what I'm saying? But that's my ace, you know, like that's the big homie. And you know, Dutch knows my brother Van well. Now, my name is Vanguard because I'm Van's guard, right? So we were twins going to school, get to the schoolyard day one, went to mad different schools, had to do this like fucking 10 times. And, you know, they're like, who are these 2 kids that we don't know that don't even look like they know each other, but they're like clicking? They must be cool. So we would always like get right in all the schools. It was never a problem. We were always like, but, you know, because my brother is, you know, wise with his mouth too sometimes, I'm sure, you know, it would pop off. And if it was popping off, I would jump in, and heads are like, how are you, like, you're definitely not twin brothers. Like, you're not brothers. You know what I mean? Like, nobody believes that anyway. Why are you trying to protect them? You guys don't even know each other type shit. And my brother and I, you know, got jumped a couple people, but I also, as a young man, used to see him in a fight and jump in and handle business, you know? That's the guard aspect of it for real. That's the real reason I chose the name Vanguard. I also like the avant-garde aspect of it. My brother is a painter. He's an accomplished fine artist. And, you know, just paying, like, I just paying homage to my brother. So that's where my name comes from. And, you know, that's about, you know, me and my brother going to schools, and the schools that we went to in Central Jersey were the places where I started freestyling. High school was the place where I actually started doing it outwardly. You know what I mean? Heads were rapping. It was fucking 93. I was a freshman in 93, bro. Like, Wu-Tang dropped like the same week that I started high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, and hip hop was popping. It was for me, I think 95 is the best year for albums, but I think that 93 is like the shit where everything changed. It wasn't like no New Jack Swing shit was cool no more. Hammer was over. All of the pop, corny, real whack hip hop shit was over with. And, you know, Wu-Tang kind of turned a switch on that. But that was the time where everybody, if you didn't rap, you were a herb. You know what I mean? And if you were good at it, you were the man. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely was trying to do that shit, you know? So that's when I started rapping. And the backstory behind my name, you know what I'm saying? That was kind of a wild, like, tangential loop, but I tend to be able to tie those back together.
Yeah, you do. By the way, I just to cut you off, right? I don't like pretending like I'm not doing it, right? But like, to cut you off, this is honestly why I love the show. And like, I feel like I get to know my family better. Like, I did not know that that's where Vanguard, the name, actually came from. And it makes perfect fucking sense. Knowing
So
you.
let me give you another little piece of that story, right? So, my grandfather is a G. He told my brother, he was like, "Yo, so Patrick takes your name for his art. What are you gonna do for him with your art?" And my brother was like, "Ooh, okay." And like, I'll tell you right now, I'm not naming no names, like, like no spoilers and shit, but my brother has sold paintings to very famous people. And for a decade, from like 2001 until 2011, and then he stopped doing it, which I respect. Like, I can't even believe he did it for 10 years. Signed his paintings on the back, Van Hanos, the brother of Patrick Hanos. So every painting he made between 2001 and 2011, that's what it's signed. You know what I mean?
What? That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's like not only incredible, it's got a heartwarming feel to
it. For real. And if you were to ever meet his brother, you'd know, like, it. He's absolutely right. Like, nobody would. I did not think that they were brothers. I think everybody kind of has that same energy when they meet Pat's Vanguard's brother, twin brother.
I'm Pat too. I mean, it's funny because, like, I was talking about Brandon to somebody recently, and they were like, "Nah, like, you can't say you gotta lock shit down only one way and one brand. Like, that's good advice, maybe, but like, you don't have to do it that way." And I'm like, "Yeah, right." And they're like, "Well, you're Pat, right? You're Vanguard. You know what I mean? You're HR. You're all these different things to different people." And so, like, so what? Your brand is whack because it has more than one aspect to it? Like, nah. And that shit made me think, which is ill. The aspect of, like, having my brother's back and all that stuff, I think that's really important. It's wild that you didn't know that, because Van, and everybody in the dub, Holden, calls Van, my brother, Van Hanos, not Patrick Hanos, Van Hanos, calls him the real Van. So when we're like, but only when like, if we're in the same room together and Zoo is there, he'll be like, "Yo, Van," and then Van won't. He'll be like they'll introduce him as the real Van. Not
Facts.
Vanguard, the real Van.
Facts. These are facts. These are hardcore facts.
Yeah, sometimes it's very hard to understand dub lore. You really.
Yeah, man. The dub is a dynamic.
It's a bit of it.
Rich history there, man. Like,
it's an amazing.
There's so much shit that happened that I know about that some people who are central to the organization might not know about. Like, not in a bad way, but like, I witnessed this thing occur that so and so didn't. You know what I mean? And vice versa. You know what I mean? And the thing that's ill about it is that Vice Versus was there for almost everyone's everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the dude. When we talk about the dub lore, like, the lore is real. There's a rich history. And, I wasn't there for every moment of it. I was there for plenty of those moments. I'm proud to have been there for all of those moments. And, I miss my bro, man, because he was really there. He was there with me, like, every time I was out that we were doing some dub shit, Vice was right there. You know what I mean? And there were times where I wasn't there and other people were there and Vice was right there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, V's up. I love
V's up forever.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a rewarding story. Like, everything the dub has done has definitely inspired me, because it's like, honestly, a success story of a multi-decade grassroots organization that never sold out.
Yeah, I don't believe there's anything to sell out. And like, the real shit is like, I mean, we're talking about this is. I love that we're going here because I wanted to. The dub is like a really special place, man. There's, it's like we don't put ads out to be like, hey, like really solid, genuine, caring, and like, you know, compassionate people, come join us. We don't put that ad out there in the world. You know what I mean? But like the people that we have in our network are those people. You know, like I'm never nervous like we're gonna get me too'd on anything. You know what I'm saying? The people that we associate with are people who care about things and care about hip hop. I don't think selling out is a word that is like, you know, understood. You know, it's like it's not even an option. You know, like of course, you know, like earning money, it doesn't mean selling out, but
No.
like
Completely agree with you.
when some people try to associate that with the one with the other, but that's not true. But
It's just about your integrity, and I think that that's what it is. That the dub,
that is the word for it, integrity.
yeah, I think that the dub and the right, because the dub isn't like it. The dub kind of has that beautiful thing to it, like that saying about a home, right? Like a house isn't your home. Your home is where you lay your head, you know?
Right.
And the dub is like, it's not a stable, it's not it many years, many years, almost a decade plus, right, in one venue. But that venue isn't necessarily the home. The home is wherever the people are. And those people that make up the dub, there's too much character and integrity in them for them to ever be even the type of people to be questioned about being sellouts. So,
yo, I mean, that's a really really good you know, description, because you know we do uh, the open mic in one place and then we move it to another place, but even when it was in those places that can be considered the dub for New York City, and the vast majority of the initial people that knew what End of the Week was, End of the Week spread to so many other places that that was happening there too, simultaneously sometimes. You know what I mean? Like in you know, there's two shows in two different countries that are happening at the same time. They're both end of the week shows, right? Now, whether that's like a traditional what we started to do, which was an open mic with some showcases and an MC challenge, or one of the chapters decides to just do MC challenges, or they, you know, do festivals and they only do something once a year. Everybody comes together for the World Finals, and we've been doing that since like 2007. And the World Finals is the fucking dub. Like the last time we all got together was Belgium 2019. We went to like a piece of DJ Proceed from EOW Belgium, you know what I'm saying, and the whole team, and peace to all my EOW fan members. Y'all know what it is. We did an event in like a fucking botanical garden in the little like theater stage thing that they have, which is like round room. It's like, see, I don't know if this is the purpose of it, but it's like one of those places where you stood in the center of the room and you like sung. It would like get acoustics and shit. Like amazing fucking venue. Like probably 600 people. Room is packed. People were not able to get in type thing. Fucking the show is the MC challenge, and it's all the countries together, and the judges are up in the rafters like fucking jotting their notes and shit. You know what I'm saying? And that shit was the fucking dub, you know? And it's, yeah, sure, 10 countries, 15 countries coming together to do something bigger, but it still was just what the dub is. And that means it's the spirit of the people. It's not the event, you know? If it's an open or it's an MC challenge, those things are two totally different things. This thing that I witnessed was like in another country with like all this like really well orchestrated, you know, show production. And it was just a dub to me, you know? It felt the same. Of course it's a different show, it's on another level, but the shit was just the dub, you know?
Yeah, and even just to, like, for me, it's like fascinating, right? Because, I mean, the dub extends to a point where technically Fin de Fibla is the first Quebec hip-hop show in history of like our place to have like an actual hip-hop show that's like us, and it's just end of the week in French.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and they just said they're doing season 2. So like, technically it extended so far to impact Quebec hip-hop culture in a very significant way, because now there are going to be kids that are going to grow up and see hip-hop on TV in like a legitimate way, and it not just be something that's stigmatized negatively.
I mean, yeah, like that accomplishment is like a feather in the hat. You know what I mean? When it comes to all the things that we've done, you know?
Right.
And for the MC Challenge to be broadcast on a national television show, to have like everything go through, and, you know, it wasn't exactly the format, but it was a really good representation of it, and it didn't come off on some corny shit. And it's really hard to work with a production company and make sure. I mean, I don't know firsthand because it's not my experience there, but I would say like every single television show I see and the things that I've been involved in, like I was invited to the White Rapper show back in the day, and all of those things.
The what?
Yeah,
you never heard of the White Rapper show?
No, I want to get to that, but we'll go back to your story after this.
Just to say, when you go behind the scenes with a production company, they're going to want to make your shit a sellout. They're going to want to sell the most tickets. They're going to want to have the most optics. And the End of the Week Quebec team was able to translate the MC Challenge with minor changes and have it come across as something that's not only like really good to watch, but authentic and sticks to the core values of what End of the Week is. You know what I mean? Which is an amazing feat. That's not easy to do. You know, so
not easy.
Or to season 2. And I'll say this: like, I'm sure some people from Quebec will watch this, especially because you're from Quebec. But I would say that these motherfuckers got me bad, bro. Like, I'm like, yo, that whole season was lit, and I think it ended like at the end of March, right? Like very end of March. And then the next thing I saw Heads post on the Quebec page was like a picture of a sailboat, like a little sailboat. And they were like, season 2 is coming soon, and it's going to be on a boat. And like, I work in events, B. I was like, that is a fucking logistical nightmare. Why would they do that? That's the type of sellout shit that we don't want to see. I was like, what the fuck is about to happen? And meanwhile, it was April 1st. You know what I'm saying? And motherfuckers is like, yo, we just like playing games with Heads because there is a lot of anticipation for season 2. And they got him. Like, I was like, oh.
Got him.
I literally, I had a moment where I was like, yo, that's
it's not like, that's Waida, right? Like, she's the one that does that shit, I'm pretty sure. That's amazing.
Yeah, Waida runs the account, but I do think that Guillaume or somebody else actually
put it up. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, regardless, them motherfuckers got me. I called Waita. I was like, yo, are y'all kidding? And she like tried to lead along for like a minute or two and then just started laughing. It was like, dickhead, it's fucking April 1st. Like, it's April Fool's Day.
That's hilarious.
I was like, I'll be taking shit way too serious, yo.
That's amazing.
But yeah, nah. Anyway, yeah, super proud of that shit. And like, you know, after all, man, like, there's a lot of things bubbling, and you know, we could even, you know, be real to say that, you know, what happened on a public access channel in Canada is something that is going to get more of those opportunities for more of the chapters around the world. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
incredible.
Yeah, it's
shout out to all of them. Shout out to Olivier Bro, because I know he was involved in that. He's a wonderful dude.
Benoit, Guillaume, Waita, fucking, I mean, the list goes on. They're you know,
honestly, I haven't,
like, I can't say enough, and I know that I'm forgetting some people's names. It doesn't even, you know, to me, I feel like EOW Quebec is the first thing that we need to say. And, you know, just that's like, you know, ASAP Gang. Like, just put that at the end of your name and you're lit. You know what I'm saying? They're killing it. They've been killing it.
Yeah. To be fair, I've met them in person, I think, like once. And I'm actually excited because they're doing some shit in September. And I'm like, oh, say word. I'm going to see y'all in real life. That's cool. Yeah. Because basically we started doing this. And then they got all this media gag with a TV show, and we're like, I can't really talk to you right now. You're media.
Got you.
So now it's like, okay, say word. I can go like actually meet the Quebec people. Like, I'm way more familiar with the New York side than I am with the Quebec side at this point.
Shouts to all of those names though that you shouted out, and shouts to you for like hitting all them French accents. Magnifique.
Yeah, you did that well. I didn't. Yeah, it's a good point. Nothing hit me. It just blended.
Yeah, I would have butchered it a little bit. All good though. I'm proud of my butchering of the French language. I'm like, I mispronounced it. It still sounds fly though.
You know, I mean, and let me say this too. Peace to Gavin, yo. Like Osti is the man. Osti, actually, and I fucked that one up. You know, he comes through to the open mic. He supports. He's hosted the open mic. He's hosted a bunch of different things for us. He's been a participant on Frio Dub in a really consistent way. Is super dope. When I was talking before about like when I write, I want to write more. You know what I'm saying? And one time on the open mic, Osti came through, and did a joint, and Zoo was like, "Yo, you remind me of this," and I was like, "Oh, word, that's ill." And he and I and Zoo got a joint that's gonna come. You know what I'm saying?
That's amazing.
And like I said, I forgot a ton of names, and it's crazy. I don't have many new songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a song with Big Zoo and Vanguard and Osti one from Quebec that's coming out, and I forgot to say his name when I was bigging up the team. So that's crazy. But that's also a little, a goose egg. What do you call it? Not a goose egg. What do you call them? An Easter egg.
Easter egg. Yeah.
And I said a goose egg.
It's all right, man. This is fun. Okay, but now we have to go back to your story, right? Because I mean, you do connect with some interesting people. Apparently, you get invited to a white boy rap show I've never heard of.
You know who invited me to it?
No.
Scram Jones, because he didn't want to do it. Motherfuckers hit him up and was like, "Yo, you want to be on a white rapper show?" And he was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm about to be a Grammy nominated producer." You know what I'm saying?
Which, by the way, real quick, you didn't say Namin, but like that's a Namin moment, right? Where like you said Scram Jones' name, right? I don't know if Holden necessarily is familiar with Scram Jones.
So Scram Jones is one of those names I've heard of, but like I don't know that I know, but I probably know. And if you talked, I'll be like, oh yeah, more than I know off the top of my head.
Scram Jones produced many records that you know. You know, we could go through the list, but you could also just go to the Wikipedia if you want to.
Yep.
Plenty. He's got Grammys and shit. But I met Scram Jones at EO Dub. He was the DJ at EO Dub when I first started going there, and is the homie. He's a cool dude. We call him the triple threat. You know what I mean? He always had dope beats. Is the ill DJ, like can cut, like blend, like he could, he's a very talented DJ, and he's also no shit, like on the low, the same way that like you're behind the suit and I'm behind the scenes, and like heads might know my name, but they don't really see me around. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been to a lot of situations where I was on this side of the camera rather than on that side of the camera. You know what I mean? I'm in that room, but I'm not on the screen. Like Scram is the illest rapper in that sense. Like motherfuckers don't even know he raps. It's like he used to be funny and be like, I'm the DJ tonight, and it's like, yo, like everybody gets to spit, and now the club's closed. What's my name? Skip? You know what I mean? And no, your name's not Skip, but like, like we can't even believe that you didn't spit tonight because he is metaphors, double entendre, flow, cadence, bars, like punchlines. You know what I'm saying? Scram is the illest. But heads, they also say, Skip on he's a rapper because he's the producer. You know what I'm saying? He was the DJ with us, and he'd be like, yo, I didn't get to rock tonight. What's good? After that, it wasn't even a thing. He's out here fucking producing for Mariah Carey. He's producing for Cameron. He's producing for fucking, Jay Mills. He's producing for, his hit record. I think one of the biggest records that he did was the Yeah for Remy Ma.
For Remy Ma. Yeah, which was one of her biggest songs up until she jumped on all the way up.
Not only her biggest song, like when I heard that, I was like, yo, like not only is this dope that Scram like just got one, but I love that beat. You know what I mean? Not like sometimes you hear some shit that's out there and it's not really that thing. You know what I mean? That was that thing at that time. That shit was super lit,
And correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Scram was the first in-house DJ at the Dub.
Scram Jones was the first DJ. I know that the first EO Dub installation was in August of 2000. And in August of 2000, this guy, Joey Ty, who was a DJ that's friends with the crew, is the person who introduced the idea of an open mic to be collaborated on between Solid Ground, which is Nunzio and Zoo, and Eye to Eye, which is Vice Versus and Prolific One. And this guy said, like, you guys are both ill entities in the underground hip hop scene, come together and host this open mic. And that man passed, like he not passed away, but got sick, really sick with cancer, and subsequently passed away before they were ever able to have the first event. But the first event was booked. And when it was coming up, and the DJ, the person who was bringing everybody together, wasn't able to attend, Jason, Vice Versus, called Scram, because Scram was another DJ that was on the scene in the Lower East Side at that time of year, at that time of decade, and he called him and asked him to come. And then it's fucking Solid Ground, Eye to Eye, Scram Jones, EO Dub. You know what I mean? James Baum, Kendrick, Goldhirsch, you know what I'm saying? All of the Zeus crew, everybody just started becoming EO Dub. End of the week, I don't even think, I'm not even sure about the timing, if end of the week was like the name of it on the first night, I know that Jason came up with end of the week, Somebody's commenting. Big Ox.
A little off, but 90% right. That's fair.
Yeah,
but
well, yes. I mean, look, I was not there. So
we got Big Zoo's story. We got Big Zoo's version on wax.
Yeah,
we got Nunzio's version on wax. We got fucking Propane's version on wax. We got some versions of the story. This is your version.
I would defer to those versions for factual stuff, but I would say that when the story gets told, not if you weren't there and it can be considered 90% accurate, that's the type of integrity that EO Dub is after. You know what I'm saying?
That is.
I accept that. Yeah, I like the way you answer stuff, Vanguard.
Plus facts. He's very deliberate. I've been blessed to consider Vanguard a friend for over a decade now, and the man is very, very deliberate with his words, and I'm being deliberate by using the word deliberate. You know what I mean? Like, he is very precise about what it is that he's trying to say, and making sure that he uses the exact words that need to be used to get his point across. And that's
yo, Dutch, I fuck with that, but I would also say that, like, I'm known to put my foot in my mouth too. You know what I mean? And nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, live life, end of the week. The thing that I said in the beginning of this is that if you could just be like a slightly better person than you were yesterday, you're doing the right thing. You're lit, Like, and give yourself more credit, man. Like, you don't gotta be out here fucking, thank you for the complimentary words. I do agree with you, because I'm a conceited bastard. You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow I'm gonna try to be
I love the way you answer shit, my guy. I like it a lot. However, we do need to go. Okay, so we've established this was all a tangent to establish who Scram Jones was, which was a tangent on an intro point to his story.
Go ahead.
With him and his brother and what they were listening to.
I was listening to the same shit that Scram was listening to, because when you get with hip hop kids and you get around them, you're and especially in the early 90s, when I was 12 and 13 years old, which I believe is the time where people actually start like going out on their own to make their own decisions. They're no longer like cooped up with what their parents are buying them. You want to get your style, you switch your style, you change your shit. That's all lovely shit. That all happens in maybe that happens multiple times throughout your life, which is cool too. But like, that definitely happens between like 10 and 13. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
big facts.
So, for me, hip hop was there, and Gangstar was, daily operation.
No, but it was actually the White Rapper Show.
The White Rapper Show. So Scram hit me one morning and was like, yo, I just got offered to do this shit. Womp, womp, womp. I ain't doing it, because he, and I got off the phone with him, and I was like, wait a minute. Scram just said I don't want to do this really corny, compromising, whack ass shit, but I have the ability to pass the invitation to somebody else. Do you want to do it? And I was like, should I say thanks or go fuck yourself? Because, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course it's
I know exactly what you're saying.
He's trying to alley-oop me some shit, but then at the same time, it's like that might be coming back Matumbo blocking my shit. I'm like, I know that he wasn't trying to do that. He was just trying to pass the opportunity.
No.
But I was just like, wait, I just heard you explain how you don't want to do it because it's a bad idea and it's whack, but you're asking me if I want to do it? I was like, oh, damn. I know it was no funny style shit. But yeah, that was like a thing, and you know,
was this an actual show?
Yes.
Did it happen?
It was on VH1 or something. It was on VH1.
It's called the White Rapper Show.
It was on VH1.
Persia from Buffalo.
Yo, sorry to interrupt y'all. I'm dead watching that shit right now. I swear to God, before y'all even mentioned this shit, I'm watching it, cringing my ass off right now.
That is one of the hosts of EO Beats show that happens regularly on the EOW Zoom network. So
yeah, so the White Rapper Show was some really corny, whack, compromising shit. It was just like the other shows that you've recently seen on, you know, Netflix with Cardi B and T.I. and shit like that, something like that. And they would like, or like The Band. You remember The Band where they send them to Brooklyn to get cheesecake and they make fools out of them, but they also put them in the studio. It was like that type of like, you know, reality show / white rappers though. And Persia, who's nice, is from there and has no, you know, she's actually nasty. And then there was like a bunch of whack motherfuckers. And then there was this dude, his name was John Brown. And
hold on.
He stopped rapping. He was like,
this is
like,
real. I'm like tripping.
What?
Nah, hold on, right?
For one thing, like we can now see it off cam, like for the non-stream people,
Shamrock.
it's playing.
I like Shamrock.
Some of them were nice, yo. Some of them were nice.
Some of them was all right, man. They wasn't all cheesy cornballs, but there were a lot of cheesy cornballs.
So anyway, I went to the audition, but didn't go in. I saw the line and I was like, oh, hell no. And this is exactly why somebody like Scram was like, I'm not doing it, but I could, you know, put you on a list if you want to go type shit. No, but back in the day, that's the way things used to be. I know that, like, you know, one of these battles that Zoo and Breeze were in, direct effect battle or something like that, they used to have auditions for that. The line would be fucking down the corner, and if you were lucky enough to get through and impress somebody, maybe you get a chance to be on MTV. So, like, this was like that era of things, early 90s.
I totally hear that. And we can see it off cam that it's airing on one of the cams from the people you can't see on the stream. And it's just, I get it. Just seeing the outfits of these people.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's also 2003 or 2004 where heads got like T-shirts down to their knees and it fitted over their ears. And
it was
just a wild, crazy, I mean, shit, man.
It was definitely crazy to see like white people from like definitely suburbs, right? That like are inspired by hip hop, but and then like rocking like the 4X t-shirt with the super baggy pants.
Really just emulating someone's life or some shit where it's like now in the real world where heads have like, you know, considered other people's feelings, you know what I'm saying? Or at least the conversation has been started because nobody was telling white guys who like just straight emulated something that was from another region of life in like, and they were able to do it really well because they had some paper, you know what I'm saying? Like I could get the new Jordans, I could get the new fly shit that's like on television and then just emulate that style. It's like not even of course, culture vulture, but like beyond culture vulture, also like appropriative, gentrifier, like what are the other words that we can use to describe this? You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, that's what that show is. And that's why motherfuckers like me were like, and Scram way smarter than me. No. And
understanding.
I can't even believe Persia went through that shit and actually she's just an authentic person. You know what I'm saying? Like her shit is true. She wasn't like, putting on a clown suit. You know what I'm saying? She was who she was and she could actually rap. But a lot of that shit, and you said, yo, I like Shamrock, but like, yeah, whatever. And peace to Shamrock. Shamrock.
No. All good.
Good
all
for you.
good.
Nah,
By the way, though, like
2021.
Persia like is like she's kind of the reason to tune into that show if you were to watch it, like looking back, right? Like one of the like probably biggest standout moments on that show is like Persia smacking a dude with a dildo or some shit like along those lines. It might have not been exactly that, right? But like
I
that's
didn't
gotta
watch it
be.
either. I know it existed. I've seen stuff.
No, it is. It just happened. I literally just watched it.
Yeah, I remember.
That's
I was in the
amazing.
car with somebody, and John Brown was walking down the street, and we fucking terrorized him by saying "Hallelujah, holla back" out the car window. And we were driving, like he was like at the bus stop or some shit, hanging out with a fucking
Damn.
yeah.
Sheesh. From
Yo,
TV show to bus stop.
Nah. I
No,
mean,
I'm just,
don't ride the bus, B. Come on, man. We in New York City.
Yeah, big facts, big facts.
Public transportation. There's no wrong with public transportation.
So
Nothing wrong with public transportation.
honestly, I love
Thanks
that
for saving
story.
thanks for saving the environment to everybody that rides public
Yo,
transportation.
shout out public transit. I like to cycle and shit too. I'm one of those dudes.
Word up.
I
don't cycle.
So let's bring it back to like, okay, so you go through this high school era, you start getting into freestyling and stuff. What I want to know then is, I guess, what happens after high school for you? Like
After high school, I went to college. I went to county college for 2 years. Like, stayed at home, lived with my parents. Went to county college because I got poor grades in high school, so I wasn't able to get accepted. I got accepted to Temple University, which I didn't want to go to. And there was a program at the county college that said that if you got a 3.0 or higher, you could get an automatic acceptance to Rutgers University. And they, Rutgers University in-state tuition is mad low, but it's like at that time it was a really good school. I believe it still is, but like I also don't use my degree. You know what I mean? Like I've gone on to do other things. So after I went to college, open mics, recording songs, stopped freestyling all the time, but stopped just freestyling. Started like writing songs, recording songs. Not really.
how do you get into recording? It's always interesting to hear how people get into that.
The reason I got into recording was because it was always a fun thing that we did at parties to freestyle and just have fun. And I was not taking that shit seriously. I wasn't thinking I'm gonna be a rapper, right? Like, but then some dudes who were not as nice as me made a song in a studio in this dude's basement. They put together like the first version of Pro Tools or some shit like that. And even like it was probably the first version of Pro Tools, like a Digi 001 or some shit like that. And I was like, wait a minute, motherfuckers got a studio and they're recording music? Like motherfuckers got a song? Like they're not as nice as I am. You know what I'm saying? And it's no slight against them. They were cool. They did their shit. Like they made a song. That's dope. But it started off me being like, yo, like let's at the next party, I'm battling these motherfuckers. Like fuck out of here. You know what I mean? And instead of doing that, I just was like, fuck that. I'm gonna go make a song too. So I did that shit. And then freestyling was important because that's where you like exercise your skills and come up with a new flow, or maybe even come up with bars that you end up putting in your written shit. But then it changed to writing shit, and then I wrote shit, and then I recorded that. And by the time I was done with college, I was hitting the open mic scene in New Brunswick. I was hitting the open mic scene
in New Brunswick
and in North Jersey. And when I was in open mic in North Jersey at the back room of a bowling alley in Roselle Park, New Jersey, there was an open mic there called Mike Mechanics, and Immortal Technique and Mozzie came in the door, and Immortal Technique and Mozzie performed, and Mozzie had the ill, slick but fast, intricate flow, and I was like, me and my boy Mike Galata were like, yo, this shit is lit. He's mad nice. And then Immortal Technique performed Revolutionary Volume 2 before it was fucking released, and was talking about I'm gonna fly a fucking plane in your house, and I'll like that like when he was spitting the Bin Laden, like all of the shit that he got on that first that first like breakout album that he put out, Revolutionary Volume 2. He came on a promotional run before it was officially released, doing like a little fucking open mic tour circuit. Was little did I know at that point, somebody who was patronizing EOW, somebody who was in MC challenges, you know what I'm saying? And Mozzie handed me a flyer, and it was for his next show. but on the B side of that flyer was his last show. And he did either an opening or a showcase feature at the MC Challenge of Champions at Knitting Factory that year. And it had just passed. It was the last show he did, and the other side's the next show. And I was like, oh, what's this? And I went online, and I was like, endoftheweek.com, and that shit was the challenge history, and it said, Webified, C-Ray's Walls, Jin, the MC, Stretch, Poison Pen, Nems. Some of them names I didn't know, but some of them names I owned their records. Like C-Ray's Walls, I had vinyl from. Poison Pen, I had Poison Pen's record. You know what I mean? Just from buying vinyl because I had turntables and shit. I was, recording raps, and I was in.
I think a lot of people who have like a very I would kind of say I don't want to say elite. I want to find another word for it, right? But it's kind of like all the people who I know who have Poison Pen's record are people who tend to have a very intricate pen game themselves, or tend to be very appreciative of great unorthodox styles.
Bro, Penn just dropped some shit the other day that he did on a podcast or some shit, but he recorded the verse, the Archbishop and bigging up Vice and the Church of Vice verses. Y'all got to see that shit. That shit is lit. I know it's coming out, and I know he just did like a live version on it, but it was on socials the other day, and that shit is crazy. Penn is quiet as kept, unsung, and needs to be, recognized as Poison Pen. His name states, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Not only Poison Pen, like Poison Performer, you know what I'm saying? That motherfucker got swag and style, and, he knows how to body a crowd. Like, so anyway, I saw all these names, including Poison Pen's name, on this list, and I was like, yo, word, I gotta go to this open mic. And that's how I went to EO Dub. And that's what, like after high school, that's what it was. I went to college, I continued, motherfuckers do their regular college thing, and at the end of it, I was recording music, and then I found my way to EO Dub, and I traveled the world with EO Dub. And for a very long period of time after that, I was, recording music. I was in a group with Jess James, the homie, EO Dub fam.
Liddy Bro, Figueroa.
With Damian Burns, who's, you guys know as well.
Awesome.
The world don't know it. Damian Burns is, also was in the group Scarhead.
Also was a backup dancer in Liddy Bro's video.
And me, him, and Jesse had a group together called Brickface and Stucco. And that was a ill period. And after that,
hold on, you're kind of like blitzing through stuff, and I'm sure there's a lot more to your story than I was in a group.
Yeah, we might have to
made music.
I think we're part two though, because the timing, for me, I have to be up very early tomorrow morning, as I'm sure Dutch knows. Like, we're producing, Dutch is on one side, I'm on another side. We are producing events for this 5-borough tour, but I believe you're in Brooklyn, and I'm gonna be in Queens, and that is something that's gonna happen inevitably, and I have to be fresh for that because it's a lot of work. But I will say, like, I got a couple more minutes. I definitely don't want to rush through shit. You're right. I was trending towards that, but I don't think that's going to do this justice. But, I think a good place to like stop and maybe like ask some questions or talk a little bit more would be at the time where I actually, was introduced to EO Dub, because there's so much that's happened after that, including what I started to go into with Brickface and Stucco and Svengali Brothers, and, me stopping rapping and the things that I did after that and what I'm doing now. That's like, that's another conversation, I think. I believe at this point we're at like, the young self from Patrick Hanos that turned into Vanguard. You know what I mean? I was definitely calling myself Vanguard before I got to the Dub, but once I got to the Dub, Vanguard became real, because motherfuckers like Aguilar was like, yo, you nice. You know what I'm saying? Mecca from the Plague. Yo, I came outside the Dub one of the first times I was there, and he was like, and I'm like, I know what that means. Yo, what's up, man? How you doing? You know what I mean? Jay Arch, God rest. came up to me, you know, Nems had told me, yo, you nasty and shit. And then one day, like maybe the 15th time I went to EO Dub, J Arch came up to the both of us and was like, I want the two of you on a song with me. And then ever since then, it's been Fuck Your Life. You know what I mean? And look at it 20 years later, like, you know what I'm saying? Me and Nems are, you know, I'm the co-founder of his brand that is FYL, which is our crew. You know what I'm saying? And that part, there's a lot to talk about there. I don't have, you know, all the time in the world to talk about that tonight because something very important is going to happen for hip hop tomorrow.
Facts.
Very cool.
Something very important is happening for hip hop tomorrow. Facts. Big facts.
I don't know what's happening for tomorrow. Hip hop.
This is New York's. We'll talk about that a little bit, just real light touches. So it's not some like ominous, mysterious thing that we're trying to do and shit. But like New York City is having a 5-borough hip hop concert series, and it's kind of like the first time that the city itself, the government, got behind something this big, and it's like an actual like concert series, and they're doing it.
Chuck Schumer, who's a New York State senator, who's the majority leader, last night announced at the show, like this is a series of shows that's being produced in New York, and like within this is another thing that comes later as well, is like all of our we've been on stage before. Let me translate that to like doing moonlighting gigs to pick up work as, you know, event producers and people who put events together, and, you know, all of the different levels of things that happen. And right now, everybody that we know that's a rapper that's in New York City is working on this event, which is a 5-borough tour of a concert for the new hip hop museum that's in the Bronx. And, you know, they did the Orchard Beach, which was KRS-One, and Dougie Fresh. And
Orchard Beach is located in the Bronx. So KRS-One being a Bronx rapper, Dougie Fresh being Uptown head.
Yeah, Staten Island last night. Tomorrow night's going to be Brooklyn, and then Friday is Queens. And it's like borough-specific shit. Like in Staten Island last night, it was Raekwon and Ghost and Force MDs. You know what I'm saying? Like
they're all from Staten Island.
Yeah, we're from Staten Island. Tomorrow is like Big Daddy Kane and Mano and Papoose.
Brooklyn.
It's all Brooklyn heads. You know what I mean? So it's really dope. This week is lit for
super dope.
Yeah, this week's lit for hip hop. And
yeah,
I gotta be there very early in the morning because I'm one of the people that are helping to, you know, I didn't plan the event, but I'm gonna be there slinging barricade. I'll tell you that.
I have no idea what slinging barricade means.
We'll be ominous about that. We'll leave that at that.
I'll say this: if you don't know what slinging barricade is, then you don't know what, you know, me and Dutch, when he's saying that we have like evolved in our friendship from like acquaintance to like, yeah, we're cool with each other, so like, yeah, we've hung out a couple times, to like, I know Dutch, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I know Dutch, you know, me and him worked together for a decade, you know, in the industry where everybody is like a, you know, freelancer, and, you know, then, you know, a part of part 2 is going to be, you know, I haven't even mentioned Iron Solomon yet. You know what I mean? That's like one of, you know, for a really long period of my life, like my closest friend, and, you know, somebody who I own a business with for mad long. And, you know, we created so much dope shit together. There's a lot to that story as well.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things where, like, for me, like everywhere I go, like I can't like go anywhere to a hip hop thing, like where like people know me for real without like hearing like, "Hey, how's Jess?" like I'm Jess James's caretaker, you know what I mean? And I think that that's similar kind of relationship that Vanguard and Iron Solomon had for many years, where like somebody would see Iron and I guarantee you that they're gonna ask him about Vanguard. Somebody would see Vanguard and I guarantee you that they're gonna ask him about Iron. You know what I'm saying?
That's a super fact, but a funny part of that is that once Solomon became like Solomon was the first viral battle rapper on YouTube. He was so ill and everybody wanted him to be on their DVD. And there were so many DVDs with him on it that as soon as YouTube happened in like 2006, all these DVDs came up and all this footage came up. Not even like it's only DVDs. It's like this festival, that festival, people that like filmed him at Brainstorm or at Scribble Jam or, you know, all over the Midwest too, because he went all over the country to do these battles. All of that shit came up on the line at first. So he had all of this real estate. And he got famous, you know, especially in New York. Heads are like, oh, that's that battle rap guy. And he and I, funny enough, when my twin brother and I don't look nothing alike, everybody always thought that me and Solomon were brothers, not only because we looked somewhat alike, but if I was out, people had seen us together so much that they would come up to me and talk to me if I was him. You know, I'd be like, bro, it's not him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because it got worse over the years because he just kept doing bigger and bigger things. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a battle rap, you know, darling, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. One of the best to ever do it. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
Yeah. And so that's why the second half would, you know, there is lots more to uncover and yeah, absolutely.
Totally understood. We'll definitely get to all of that. But yo, thank you for coming and doing this, Vanguard. It's always great to just hear the different people's stories, especially when you come from an era that's not exactly the same as mine and a place that's not exactly like mine. It's like, that's why it's fun. Like, you know, I feel like this.
I knew that coming into this. I really, you know, I'm a fan of the show. I respect, peace, Holden. You know what I'm saying? Dutch, you know what it is already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, thank you.
You know,
yeah.
I would say, you know, above all else, rest in peace, vice versa. V's up. EO Dub for life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We got more shit.
Yeah. On that note, make sure you like follow EO Dub and like subscribe.
NYC on Instagram. EODUB on Instagram. That's the main account. There's many other accounts you can find on your own organically. Those are all associated with EOW from around the world. The website is eodub.com. And we do this thing on Zoom every single Sunday night for the open mic, which is a written platform where people can come spit their songs and their prepared material. And then on Thursday, we have a segment that's called Frio Dub, which you can pull up and freestyle with us instead of spit written material. It's the opposite day, right? That's super fun. Big Zoo and CF host that, two of the best freestylers that are on this.
Word. Absolutely.
And we have a rotating hosts for the Sunday thing. Both of them, if you're into rap, want to rap, it starts at 9:30. And, you know, that's my little hot ones. Look at this camera, look at that camera, look at this camera. And I'm out. Peace. Vanguard. Thanks.
Also, he did a cooking show one time, Cooking with Vanguard. I remember watching that.
You're going to bring it back.
Cooking, they call me Veggie Noble. You heard?
That's amazing. But y'all, thank y'all for coming. Sorry?
We'll talk about it next time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, we will.
Thank y'all for coming through again, everyone. Make sure y'all have a wonderful night. Live long and prosper, everybody.